recorded. So I want to thank everybody for joining us on this weekly, well, we have it every 2 weeks, our call that we have for the districts going areas going region. And for this call, I thought who better than to have our very own Regional Vice President, Lacey Suter, who's going to actually share with us on the call. And the reason I wanted to have her talk is just because I wanted her to be able to share her experience in New Zealand. She just spent 21 days over in New Zealand, and I'm so very proud of you, Lacey. I know how hard you worked your business. You basically worked every single day that you were there, and you went to another country. You are building your business and expanding globally, and I just wanted you to be able to share that because I think it's really important that we all know what it's like building a global business, some of your struggles, some of your wins. Just be able to share with us anything that you want to be able to that you want to share with us. So I'm going to kind of let you take it over and share with us what an incredible experience you had.
Awesome. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Jacqueline, for asking me to come on this call. And I know Jacqueline wanted me to touch a little on my experience and how I pursued my goal of growing a global business in New Zealand. So first of all, if there's anyone on the call who doesn't know me or that I haven't met, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on who I am. So I am 27 years old and I live on a ranch in southern Alberta. I'm not married and I have no kids, but Colby and I have been together for over 7 years, so quite a while. And my passion is barrel racing and professional rodeo. And let me tell you, having horses and competing all over Western Canada takes a lot of time and a lot of money. And so Arbonne was something that would give me both. So that was kind of my reason for starting my Arbonne business. And so I quit my dental assisting job after 2 months of starting my Arbonne business and replaced my income. And then 9 months later, we promoted to regional vice president, which is the second highest level of management. And so I've been building my Arbonne business since March of 2014, so just over 2 years now. And now, another why for me doing this business is just helping other people get the life they want to by using this business to do so. And it's really rewarding to know you're helping change someone else's life for the better too, because I know I'm very grateful that Amanda and Jacqueline shared this opportunity with me. And then I took a closer look and decided to roll with it. So that's a big part of why I do this now as well. And so how New Zealand kind of came about for me, at our global training conference in Las Vegas in April, they announced that Arbonne would be launching into New Zealand on June 2nd. And so when they said that, I knew I had to go, as I knew it was such a huge opportunity to grow globally into a country that Arbonne would be brand new and that was an untouched thing. And so at that time, you guys, and I'm going to be totally honest and transparent with you, is my overall business was in a little bit of a slump. Lots of people had quit. And honestly, I felt like personally, I was struggling to keep the momentum going. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but that's kind of where my business was at. And I just knew expanding into New Zealand would be like a fresh start to my business and just the thing that I would need to maybe build some momentum again. And so that was kind of my thoughts. But there was one problem. I didn't know a single person in New Zealand. So, at that point, I could have thought, well, there's no point in going. I don't know anyone there, and I could have gave up and call it a wash. But I just knew I had to do it. There was something in me that said, this is a huge opportunity and you've got to make this work. And so somehow I was going to find a way. And something Kelly GT always says, and she actually just promoted to executive national vice president. She just promoted her first national vice president. And something that she always says is winners figure it out. And so that was always in the back of my mind. I was like, I don't know anyone in New Zealand. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but winners figure it out. So I got to work and I spent a lot of May getting referrals. And so I basically asked everyone I talked to if they knew anyone in New Zealand. And I utilized Facebook a lot, so getting referrals and then contacting these people via Facebook. And I would do that initially with a private message. And I'll be honest, a lot of people I messaged never replied, but some did. And so the ones that did, I set up feedback calls with each one of them that replied and just stressed to them how huge of an opportunity this would be for them to be one of the first to pioneer the expansion of Arbonne into New Zealand. People like Sonia Shields, Becky Young, Jacqueline. These were some of the pioneers into Canada and now are basically set up for life financially. I mean, they're never going to have to worry. And so I knew whoever got into Arbonne in New Zealand at the beginning would be very successful. And I was really, really excited about that. So belief has a sound. And I really believe that how you say things to people makes a big difference. So, I really believed it 100%. And I think people could hear that in my voice. And so when I would say that, and people could hear the excitement and belief, and that was what, I think a lot of people, why they said yes to this and why they trust what I was saying is because I did have that belief and I just knew it was going to work. And so after doing some of those feedback calls, some said yes, some said no. I got a lot of no's, of course, too, but I just kept asking. And I knew that someone would see the opportunity being offered to them. And I wasn't alone in sharing this opportunity. So Sherry Papke, Caitlin McCauley, Robin Clark, and Holly Nagy were immediately seeing the opportunity as well and got to work sharing it too. Those are a few girls on my team. And eventually we had some momentum rolling with some ladies who seen the opportunity and did say yes. So Katie Clayton Green and her friend Claire Broderick, Kat Bell, Laura Eves, and Deanna McCarthy were a few of the girls that we kind of got started with. So I just want to thank you ladies for trusting us and taking a leap of faith with this. And I'm so grateful for all of you. We got busy setting up launches and filling their calendars the same that we would do with business partners here. So basically I didn't change up anything that I would do at home in regards to starting a new business partner, setting up their calendar, getting parties, those sorts of things. I did the exact same thing there as I would here. So myself, Robin Clark, and Holly made the trek over to New Zealand on June 2nd. And I'm going to be honest, the unknown was both a little bit scary, but it was also exciting too. And I just knew it was going to be worth it. I just deep down in my soul knew that this was going to be a worthwhile trip. And so Holly and Robin did several trade shows and shared the opportunity with their cold market. And I just have to say, I'm so proud of both of you girls for doing that and really stepping out there and putting yourself out there. That's so huge. And while I was there, I only had 4 days out of the 3 weeks I was there where I wasn't doing Arbonne shows and helping launch business partners. And so I am so grateful. These people I didn't even know trusted me, opened up their homes, and were coachable and got tons of activity lined up. I can't thank you girls enough for that. We got to work and I helped my new business partners launch their business and taught them the system for success. So just as the same thing that we do here. So I quickly do want to congratulate a couple of my direct business partners. So Deanna and Laura both got into qualifications for district manager. In fact, Laura is less than 1,000 QV away from promoting to district manager. So she will be a district manager by the end of this month for sure. And on Sherry's team, Katie, her daughter, and Katie's business partner, Claire, are both in qualifications for district manager as well. And Katie is also very close to her promotion, less than 1,000 QB away. So Katie's been a superstar. She's already had 2 new business partners to her team since, and it's just so exciting. So I'm super proud of you girls. And because of this momentum and the work Sherry was doing back at home in Canada too, she is now in qualifications for area manager. So congratulations, Sherry and team. Also, Caitlin McCauley introduced Kat Bell to the Arbonne business, and she is currently working, going to school, being a mom, and beginning to grow her Arbonne business empire. So I'm just really proud and excited and grateful for how successful the launch was into New Zealand, and I know it's going to continue to grow. My business now finally feels like it's in a good place too, which feels really good because I'm going to be honest with you guys, it wasn't in a good place before. So it kind of felt like the kickstart and the jump that I needed to get back going and get myself kind of motivated and back into it. So just part of sharing this with you guys and sharing my experience, I just highly encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and pursue growing your business globally, because you never know who you might meet or the referrals that you'll get. It could be the game changer to grow your business too, whether that be from, you're a new consultant to district manager, or from district to area, or even to regional vice president or NVP. And the great thing about growing globally and into another country is, say the Canadian economy isn't doing that well, it might not be struggling in another country. So it's nice if you can have business elsewhere and in other countries, to kind of balance that out. So my homework, I guess, for you guys, what I thought would be kind of a good thing to do would be just to make a list of people in the countries we are in. So if you don't know the countries we're in, we're currently in Canada, the US, the UK, Poland, Australia, and New Zealand, and we are going to be launching into Taiwan. So maybe just sit down and make a list of people that in any of those countries. Maybe you know some people in Taiwan, or maybe you know someone who knows someone in Taiwan. That's how I grew my business globally into New Zealand, was all off of referrals. So that would be my one tip, and my one piece of homework for you guys is to go home, make a list, and write down the names of people that in those countries, and reach out to them, because you never know. So yeah. Jacqueline, is there anything else you'd like me to share?
Thank you, Lacey. That was awesome. And I know that it definitely, it wasn't a whole comfortable experience, but that's kind of what Arbonne is kind of about, is stepping out of your comfort zone. So that's why I'm so very proud of you for, taking that leap and going to another country where you don't know anybody. And I'm sure it was a little bit scary, but if anybody has questions, which I kind of have a question, I guess, for Lacey. So I'll start. I just kind of want to know, how much in QV did you grow by just, stepping out of your comfort zone? You could share, by growing into New Zealand.
Okay, so if I'm going to be completely open and honest with you guys, going from last month, like May's QV to June QV, it was a 20,000 QV jump.
20,000?
No, sorry. It was 15,000 is what it ended up being. There was a little bit of glitches in the system with Katie's QV and stuff, but we all got that sorted out now. So it'd be right around 15,000. That's a pretty big leap, right? For 1 month, just expanding globally into another country, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of,
that was basically, a lot of it was central district too, right? Like direct business partners, and then as well, so in my central district and my central area.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? You can unmute yourself. Maybe some questions you want to ask Lacey about building a global business, and hopefully out of this, you can see by just asking people, if they know anybody in any of the other countries, exactly like what Lacey did. That's how she found contacts in New Zealand. So right there, that's kind of a tip for everybody. Does anybody else have questions? No questions. No question. What was I'll just keep asking questions then. What would you say maybe your biggest struggle with going into a new country?
I think the biggest struggle for me was just finding those business partners initially, like doing the work before going over there, honestly, was the biggest struggle. And so I really put a lot of focus and emphasis on that before I went over, because I knew I wanted it to be a worthwhile trip, right? I wanted to have a lot set up before I went. And so I'd say that was the biggest struggle. I mean, doing feedback calls at like 3 a.m. here, because of course of the time difference, right? So there were times where I was doing feedback calls at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I mean, sometimes nothing came of those feedback calls, right? And so the biggest struggle, I think, was really expressing and being able to share the opportunity with other people, get that lined up. And I mean, like I said, like I'm very proud of these girls for trusting in me and, being so coachable when basically I'm a complete stranger. This business is totally new to them. They've never even heard of it. And so thankfully they were so coachable, and they did have lots lined up for me. But I'd say that was the biggest struggle, was just, finding those people who were serious about it and getting things lined up before I went. Once I got there, honestly, people loved it. Like, New Zealand's a very green country. They're really, they're into more natural products and using things that are healthier and safer, and they're very conscious about the environment and those sorts of things. So the product really did sell itself. So I wouldn't say that sales was a struggle whatsoever. That part of it went really well, and people were really loving the spa nights, and we got lots of rebookings. And so once we were there, that part was kind of honestly a breeze, especially because it was so new and nobody had heard of it. Nobody had really had any sort of negative experiences or anything like that, right? So it was that part, once I was there, I found was, I'm not going to say easy, but it definitely went quite smooth. It was just getting things lined up beforehand that was probably my biggest struggle.
And then what would you say was the best thing about going over to New Zealand?
Honestly, the people. I loved New Zealand, and I think why I loved it so much was because the people there are really similar to the people here. And what I mean by that is they're super kind, they're friendly. I mean, these people opened up their homes to me. I stayed with these people. I mean, I can't thank like Laura and Kat. Kat even took me skiing with her family and her kids, and she didn't know me. So, I mean, for people to be so outgoing and hospitable, I think honestly that was what I loved the most. It's just the people, and I think that it's going to do so well in New Zealand just because the culture is very similar to Canada, and like I said, their emphasis on using healthier, safer products and that sort of thing too. So, but definitely the people was my favorite thing.
Does anybody else have any questions for Lacey before we finish off the call? Quiet bunch. Nobody. Okay. Oh, Courtney. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi guys. My question, Lacey, was regarding since you're going over there on a business basis for visas or work visas. That's the thing that's been rolling around in my mind. If that's a issue, that's, I don't know.
Hi, Courtney. Good question. You don't need a work visa.
Okay.
So any of the countries that we're in, we can work our business there. And basically the way that I understand it, and the reason we don't need a work visa is because we're not getting paid while we're working there. Any money that we do make is being paid to us in Canada, right? So even though I was over in New Zealand and I was working my business there, my paycheck is going to be in Canada. I'm paying my taxes in Canada. And with it being a direct selling company, you don't need a work visa. Jacqueline, is there anything else you want to expand on that, or did I explain that well?
No, you explained it perfectly. That was perfect. Do you have anything else, Courtney, you want to ask before we wrap up the call?
No, that was about the only thing that I had been rolling around in my brain about all of this, but thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Good question.
Well, thank you, Lacey. I'm so proud of you. You did an incredible job over there, and you did a great job on the call. So thank you. And thanks everybody for being on the call. And I'll just let everybody go.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.